More insight now. Let's bring in Stephen Zunis, an international politics professor at USF. Professor Zunis, thank you for joining us. I guess it's not surprising that the ceasefire was tenuous, but it's back. What is it going to take for it to hold, in your opinion?
There needs to be pressure on both parties. Remember that while President Trump and the leaders of Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey signed the agreement, neither Israel nor Hamas or any other Palestinian group were signatories either. So in many ways, it does leave it to the guarantors of the agreement, Turkey, Egypt, and Qatar, which have some leverage on Hamas, and the United States, which has a lot of leverage on Israel, will really need to step up and make sure both parties maintain the ceasefire.
Yeah, you mentioned the U.S. has a big mission here, and it's going to take, I think, maybe more than just the occasional trip from the Vice President or Secretary of State. Do you think an ongoing high-level diplomatic mission is within this administration's capacity?
Oh, it's certainly within their capacity. The question is, will they use it and how will they use it? I mean, given the nature of Hamas, there's an assumption, we've seen this for decades, that if there's a ceasefire violation, the U.S. blames Hamas. Though history has shown that, yes, Hamas has violated ceasefires periodically, but so has Israel. And even in this particular case, given that there are other armed factions that Hamas doesn't control, they may be telling the truth when they said they had nothing to do with this assault on the Israeli position, which led to these large-scale airstrikes. But it is clear that what really needs to happen is that Hamas needs to be disarmed, but that can't happen until there is some kind of new governing structure and some kind of credible peacekeeping force. And of course, part of that also means that Israel, which is still occupying the majority of Gaza Strip, has to pull back and complete their promised withdrawal.
Yeah, you mentioned that if Hamas is disarmed, isn't that the de facto government there? And what would happen if there were a void?
We're already seeing some of that, in that there have been the various armed groups, some that are rumored to be supported by Israel, that have been stealing relief supplies and creating chaos. But then this has been used as an excuse for Hamas militia to engage in thuggery and repression. So again, it underscores the importance of moving forward to the later phases of the ceasefire agreement. Now, Hamas, fortunately, has agreed to give up its governing role, but the disarming is also very important, and they are yet to agree to that to do that.
Professor, are Americans realistically knowing how hard it is going to be to rebuild this region? I mean, the pictures it just look apocalyptic.
Oh, I mean, it's the devastation. I mean, this is on the level that we saw in Dresden, Warsaw, other cities that were bombed during World War II. And in Israel, it didn't just bomb these schools and hospitals and government buildings and residential towers and that kind of thing. They engaged in controlled demolitions, blowing them up systematically. So we're looking at 70 to 80% of structures in the territory damaged or destroyed. So that we're talking about 170,000 structures, and so that's going to obviously take a lot of money. Israel refuses to pay for it. The U.S. says that we're not going to pay for it, so that maybe leaves it to the Gulf states. But the Gulf states aren't going to invest unless they think there's going to be peace. They're not going to put all this money to rebuild stuff only to have Israel bomb it again. So again, it underscores the importance of moving ahead with the ceasefire agreement and getting some kind of credible non-Hamas Palestinian entity in charge.
Professor, we always appreciate your insights. Professor Stephen Zunis, an international politics professor at USF. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.